No, I think it's really frightening, especially for a lot of white people. We've been told we're not supposed to talk about religion or politics, and race and the gospel talks about both.
Absolutely.
And there's a fear among a lot of white folks that they're going to say something wrong and then they're going to be called out for it. Trying to find some places where we can have these conversations in a way that's low stakes so that people can ask questions and learn what they don't know without being afraid is so very important to get beyond our fearfulness about the topic and get into real progress and change within the church for the sake of Jesus Christ.
Yeah, and I think I'm always looking for the unity, in United Methodist Church and the unity in the United States of America, and how we bridge the gap. And I think that in the church that I'm blessed to serve, I talk about a welcome every Sunday, and that's welcoming every single person, irregardless of who you are, where you come from, what your origin may be. And then I think that in the United States, I think that we've been removed 50 years, as it relates to race in our country, and how are we going to be united and recapturing a sense of oneness as a nation and as a people if we don't have this conversation?
Brian Stevenson is an author and an activist who came to Otterbein a few years ago, and he talked about the need to get beyond our fearfulness of the topic and our dismissal of the topic of race. And he stated that when he went to Germany, he wouldn't go more than 2 blocks without finding some way of remembering the Holocaust. And when you go to South Africa, they talk about apartheid and the problems that it caused and is still causing. If you go to Rwanda, they will talk to you about the genocide. We tend in this country to try to say, well, that happened a long time ago. We're dismissive of it. But the pain of racism continues to be a wound in our country that won't heal until it gets the attention it needs.
Yes.
So we begin talking about it in small groups, in Bible study, in great faithfulness to the gospel of Jesus Christ, and perhaps we can make some headway in healing that wound.
Yeah, I think my hope is that what will come out of this is that we will begin inspiring conversations, not only across the conference, but across a conference that will let us know that we probably have more in common than we do differences with one another, and that we can begin bringing some healing not only to the church where it's much needed, but to the nation as a whole. I believe that in the good news, in the gospel, that we have the seeds of healing, we have the seeds of hope, and we have the seeds of forgiveness.
And I think also in that we are very much the same in so many ways, and we can learn to not be afraid of the things that are different, because different doesn't mean deficient or bad. It just means the way we vary from one another. Absolutely. And we can learn a lot from our differences, even as we covet and celebrate the things that are the same about us. It's an exciting time to be in ministry in the United Methodist Church.
Yeah, one of my favorite quotes is from Dr. Walter Brueggemann in his book, The Prophetic Imagination. He says that the task of prophetic ministry is to nurture, to nourish, to evoke a consciousness and perception alternative to the consciousness and perception of the dominant culture around us. And I think that as a faith community, God has given us the authority to bridge gaps. And even though there are people who believe differently than we do, it doesn't mean that we cannot have community together at some level.
Yes. It's an exciting time.
It is. It is.